So, when this happened to me, I was going on a solo hiking trip in Nicolet National Forest. I read about this obscure trail that's way deep in the forest, and it actually kind of caught my attention and seemed quite interesting. At the very least, it would be an adventure, at least. So there I am, driving down those long, winding dirt roads just to get to the place. There is absolutely nobody out here. It's completely desolate. I find the trail off the side of the dirt road. I go hiking. I get slightly lost. I make it back to my car. As I am getting inside my car, a pickup truck comes down the dirt. It slows down, and the guy inside looks at me, and then he keeps on driving. I think nothing of it. Dude was probably just surprised to see somebody in the middle of absolute nowhere. He was the first person I saw at all. I start up my car after a few minutes and start driving the same direction that he was going to get back to town. I come up to a log laid in the middle of the road. It looked like a pine tree that was fallen down. There were no pine trees nearby. I start to wonder how that guy drove over a big pine log just 10 minutes ago. There is no way it was put here in that time. I realize that it is probably a trap that he laid there himself. I put my car in reverse and I speed away backwards. I take the long way back into town. I have another story from later that night. So it's later that night in Nicolet National Forest. There was a damn tornado storm that started around the area. I had to set to sleep in my car. I come to a pretty dead tiny town. I find an abandoned parking lot facing a grass lawn. I get into my back seat and get ready to fall asleep while it's storming outside. Just a few minutes later, I see headlights pull up behind me. Oh boy, I had a feeling that some weird shit was going to happen. I jump in the front seat. I look behind me. A semi-truck has pulled right behind me in this abandoned parking lot and is trying to trap my car in. I see this Mexican-looking guy hop out of the car. He starts walking up to my car at a fast pace. I shove my keys into the ignition. I start up my car, drive over the curb onto the grass lawn because that semi-truck had trapped me in, so I could not back up. I do a U-turn, drive over the curb again, and back onto the parking lot. The guy is now jogging across the parking lot towards my car. I drive right past him. I get back on the road and drive south, going around 18 miles per hour. I take a bunch of back roads. I find a dirt road ATV trail. I drive down it for about a mile. I pull off to the side of the ATV trail in my car. It's absolutely pitch black outside. You cannot see a single thing when you turn off the lights. I sleep for about 2 hours in my back seat. Okay, so I actually have another one. It seems like I'm a bit of a magnet for weird things while out hiking. So this time, I was hiking Rock Island. Rock Island is a wilderness island on Lake Michigan that you need to take 2 boats to get to. The island has an old lighthouse and ruins from a small civilization that used to live out there. I am hiking around the island with 2 girls. I am walking down the trail with them. We are passing by an old 1800s cemetery that you can see through the forest. I start to get a strange feeling, like somebody is trying to get my attention. I look to my right, straight into the thick forest. I see a little girl lean out from behind a tree. She is wearing an old tattered nightgown. She is leaning out from behind the tree for maybe 2 seconds. Then she sinks right back into the tree. I do a double take. It's kinda hot outside, and I only slept for like 5 hours the night before, so I thought that maybe I was just seeing things. I do not say a word to the other 2 girls. They do not say anything to me either, so I guess I just was seeing things. We keep walking for another mile or so. We come to a viewing point where we are standing on top of a giant bluff looking at the lake. I am kinda creeped out about what I saw, but I did not want to weird them out just in case I was just seeing things. One of the girls looks down for a second. She says, "Man, so weird. I looked down that trail and I could have sworn I saw a little girl in a nightgown walking towards us. Then she just disappeared." I get really panicked at this point. I say, "Holy shit, I just saw the same thing earlier, but I didn't want to say anything." We all freak out. We decided to take a shortcut to get back and catch the next boat to another non-wilderness island. I drive back home a couple of days later. I investigate what I saw on the internet. I found out that Rock Island is haunted and that people have seen children playing near the 1800 cemetery quite a lot. I ship bricks pretty hard. Okay, one last one, a shorter one this time. I was taking my young cousins for a hike in the woods at Spencer Lake along with my parents and my aunt, but this happened about a decade ago. Being curious, I wandered off the trail many times to explore the rocks in the overgrown areas. We come upon a large rock face. It's probably around 15 to 20 feet tall, this flat-faced rock, so I immediately want to explore it and check it out. Upon closer observation, there are multiple wicker reefs, some burned, at the base of the large rock formation. There is an undamaged wicker reef that's hanging from a nail in the face of the rock. There is another smaller rock slab with a flat top that sits near the large formation that my younger cousins can climb. They climb up, while I climb up the back of the taller rock to see the surrounding area. From the top of the larger formation, I can see something carved into the surface of the shorter slab. It's a pentagram with a ring around it. My cousin starts playing with something. It's a candle. I yell to my aunt and hurry down to get closer. My aunt makes him put the candle down, and we notice there is a candle on each of the 5 points of the star, and they appear to be held in place with some kind of crappy motor. It's not that great of a job, since my 5-year-old cousin broke it free. My aunt starts to get nervous. She is pretty religious, and she was uncomfortable, and suggests that we hurry on down the trail. Later on in the hike, my parents' car keys go missing. They drove there, and we had to call my uncle to pick us up after searching the entire trail for an hour and a half. Was it just some LARPers playing in the woods, or some actual strange stuff? I probably will never truly know. Okay, so I have had some strange sightings and I just want to know what the hell is going on. Okay, so around the 20th of December, I made a post here talking about how I stumbled upon a decapitated and overall just weird boar corpse when walking in my childhood forest. It was on the day of my grandfather's death. Apparently, it was an omen. I don't really know what it stands for, but yeah. Yesterday, I was walking my dog for an evening stroll. We walked for about an hour along villages in the pine woods that surround where I live. When the sun came down, I turned around and headed back home. It was getting darker and darker until it was nighttime, and the only source of light that we got was my flashlight. I was in the surrounding fields near my village, between a wheat field and the cemetery, when my dog, who was walking only 4 or 5 meters ahead of me, stopped. He was in a defensive position and appeared to be scared. When I raised the light to what he was looking at, I saw a black shape with 2 white eyes. I stepped back, and the shape moved towards us. It was a huge black dog who simply looked at us and then walked back and disappeared into the shadows. Nightly apparitions of black dogs have some pretty unholy symbolism and are associated with death. What did I witness? Another omen? A ghost? Or am I going schizo and it was just a black dog minding his business? This next thing is maybe not an omen, but whatever. This happened to me when I was around 11 years old. I was playing in the fields with my sister, who was 8 years old at the time, and my cousin, who was 5. It was in 2003. It was in the middle of the summer in southwest Poland. It was really, really hot. We were just walking around and trying to pass some time. We did not have a PC or a console back then, so playing outside was one of the only few entertainments because the TV was usually occupied by my granddad watching political shows. The fields were yet to be harvested, so all the grass in the fields were pretty tall. Suddenly, I see some kind of a black shadow. Maybe a stray dog or a deer. But no, it's moving very fast through the field. It was taking the parallel dirt road to ours on the opposite side of the field. I take a longer glance. It looks like a person dressed in black cloth, with its skinny, almost stick-like hands out in front. It's not running. Rather, it's kind of just floating through the wheat. There are no visible signs of walking or running, like weight transfer during taking steps, making you go up and down a little bit. Oh shit, it's time to go. It's time to get the hell out of here. I tell my cousin and sister to just run home at full speed. I am running behind them because I felt responsible for their safety and felt like I should be in the way if anything tried to get to them. Yeah, pretty stupid. Like I could actually do anything if this was some evil spirit. I take a quick look behind to check if that thing is following us. Nope, it's far away. Probably about 1.5 kilometers. I checked on Google Maps. We did not go outside for an entire week after that. The whole occurrence lasted maybe a minute, or probably less, and most of the time we were just running home. I actually forgot about it for years. Suddenly, Witcher 3 and the introduction of Noonwraith. It looks really similar to what I've seen, although it's white in the game. Also, my Noonwraith was more covered in cloth with no head visible, and it was much faster. Approximately 70 to 90 kilometers per hour, taking Google Map measurements and my memory of that duration of the sighting. Also, I just remembered another story from that village. There were two old sisters, over 90 years old, living there since World War II. One of them was my grandma's neighbor, and she was what you could call a witch or a healer. I mean, really. She knew all herbs, some strange practices. I lived on good terms with her. I helped her many times with gardening or shopping. She told me that on the night her sister died, she was woken up by an unusually big raven trying to get inside her bedroom, hitting a window with its beak. It never happened before or after. She died only a year after her sister. Okay, so here is my first story. This happened to me when I was 19 years old in the summer of 2010. I was hanging out with my friend at around 1 a.m. He turns to me and says, "Hey, have you ever heard of Mud Lake? It's this place that nobody ever goes. Supposedly the mafia buried bodies there back in the day. We should grab some flashlights and go explore it a bit." We drive down desolate back roads in the middle of nowhere for about 20 minutes. I pretty much agreed to go straight away. I don't know, it just sounded fun. We pull up to the trail right off a secluded road in the middle of the night. We start walking down a wide path with tall trees looking over the path, so they create almost a tunnel of branches. I immediately get a freaked out feeling, like we are not supposed to be there. As we were walking, we begin to hear something that sounds like bottles clanking together. I say to my friend, "Do you hear that?" He just says, yeah, it's like bottles clanking together or something, right?" We keep walking, but a little bit more hesitantly. Way down at the end of the trail, a perfectly levitating cloud of fog appears. There is absolutely no fog anywhere else. It's just that one cloud right there, just floating. We just stand there, shining our light on the thing. It starts drifting towards us. We keep standing there, trying to figure out what it actually is. Neither of us says a word. We are just staring at the thing. It keeps coming towards us. As it gets closer, we begin to make the thing out. It looks like a transparent levitating dog with 6 legs, almost half spider or something. We just stand there, staring at the thing, not really believing what we are seeing. It keeps floating straight at us. We both look at each other, and without saying a single word, we turn around and sprint back to my car as fast as we can. We get into my car, start it up, and floor it in reverse. We get back on the main road. I am yelling, "Dude, what the fuck was that?" He's just saying, "I don't know, a fucking levitating spider dog or some shit." If I bring it up today, he really does not say much. He usually just says, "Yeah, that was weird," and then changes the subject. It's a boring Saturday for me right now, so I figured while my girlfriend is out, I could share a couple of my stories and the stories of others from my area. All of my stories take place in eastern ND, i.e. the Fargo, Moorhead, and Grand Forks area. So this first one, I was around 8 years old. My dad gets hit by a drunk train operator while driving home. Don't ask me how that happened. It still does not make sense to me 18 years later. I knew it happened before anyone else did. I don't know why, I just had a feeling that I knew he was dead. when everyone got home before him, and then I watched the cop pull up to tell my mom as she got home. I just knew. My dad was a really good guy. He was outgoing, compassionate, strong, and funny. My dad's brothers were not. They were all drunks and creeps. All of them completely lost their shit. They would often call late at night and threaten us, regardless of who answered. One of these days, we will get you back for what you did. I think they thought my mom got my dad to kill himself or something, which is strange. I have no idea why they would ever think that. Anyways, I wake up one night to the sound of someone in the kitchen. Screw it, I'm hungry, and it's probably just my mom eating in grief. She kinda did that to cope for a while. I go into the kitchen to see every single cupboard open. I then hear a high-pitched tone, kinda like a dog whistle. I feel my first instance of like, zoink Scoob, we gotta get out of here, man. The cupboards all start closing one by one. Not slamming hard, but as if someone was just going about their day and closing them. I turn 360 degrees and walk up to my mom's room and crawl in bed with her. I tell no one what happened. Fast forward to 2 nights later. Everyone in the house is awoken by a blood-curdling scream coming from my sister, Anne. Sister C's boyfriend rushes to find her at the bottom of the stairs, huddled in a ball. Anne said that she saw Dad at the top of the stairs, staring down at her. She said that there was a single stream of blood going down his face. My mom said it was just her new medication playing tricks on her. I saw the pictures of him after he died, years later. He looked just as she described. Now for general house occurrences. My basement was always a little bit weird after Dad died. The basement was where N saw him. C lived in the basement with her boyfriend M. M would not spend any amount of time down there without someone else. The dog would not even pass down the first step. I loved it down there, because that's where the N64 and the GameCube were kept. My older brother, D, moved all of the video games up one floor one day and gave his reasoning as, it's just too cold down there. There was a furnace down there. It was literally never cold. My cousin who lived with us would say that she had seen someone looking into her window sometimes at night, eluding us with a scream. She slept in the sub-basement level. Her window was at ground level. She said it was just someone looking at her, crouched down onto their hands and knees. That happened a few times. I developed severe insomnia after my dad died. I would always get this overwhelming fear when trying to go to bed, like I was going to sleep and just wouldn't ever wake up. I could not sleep in the dark. I could not sleep in the light either. I just didn't sleep whatsoever. I would stay up late very often and watch TV in the living room. I would hear someone try the front door between 3 and 5 a.m. Nobody would ever exit the porch afterwards or be on it when it happened. One time though, I saw a dude riding away on a tricycle. I always triple-checked that the doors were locked. Fast forward to a few years after Dad died. Most things have kinda chilled out in the house. All the video games got moved back to the basement again. I am playing through Uncharted 2 for the PlayStation. I am at the Yeti sequence. I love this shit. On each side of the TV, there are tall glass cabinets without anything in them. I see a red light blink 3 times in the reflection of the glass. It was quite small, like someone had pointed a laser pointer. There is nothing behind me on the couch I'm sitting on, just empty space leading to the sub pump. What the hell? I shrug it off and keep playing. A few minutes later, I feel the strongest sense of dread that I think I have ever felt in my entire life. My brain is absolutely screaming at me to get the hell out of there and not look back. I hear the dog whistle once again. In the reflection of the glass, a towering shadow begins to rise behind me. It does not stop rising. It does not go away. My brain is still screaming at me to run, so I do so. I run outside and don't go in until my mom gets home. I do not go back into the basement ever again. I leave the PS3 on for so long it breaks. Screw it. It was not worth whatever was down there. My childhood best friend, Al, had super rich parents in an absolutely massive house. I would chill there all the time. They were second owners of the home. The people who built it did not live there for long. Maybe it's because it was just so big, but that place was spooky if you were alone. Nobody really liked the basement there either. It had a theater room, and the maid would sleep down there, and that's about it. Just other adult shit, completely uninteresting to kids. I would always see someone out of the corner of my eye while I was down there. Elle's little sister's room was right next to his. His mom slept in there a lot of the time. One night, his sister and her friends come running into Elle's room. "Something's wrong with the TV, and it's scaring us. Can you guys come and fix it?" The hell? We go into her room, and the TV is switching channels at lightning speed, and the volume is going up and down randomly. There is a remote on the floor with the batteries taken out. This is not right. We unplug the TV. The TV does not turn off. The TV starts freaking out harder. It is just static channels. The volume suddenly maxes out and hurts our ears. Everyone just went downstairs as Elle got his dad. The TV turned off as soon as Elle's dad topped the staircase. Okay, so this is kind of a weird long story that's hard to explain. I was 21 when it happened and the year was 2016. I'm sitting at home. I didn't even remember this website at the time. Otherwise, I would have posted it way back then. My online friends and I are big conspiracy theorist kind of people. We have all of our own private servers set up to share shit about various conspiracies and just whatever we were into at the time. I think because the election was coming up, we were looking about the Hillary Clinton emails or whatever that was. I think I remember my buddy finding some weird things in the emails, but I don't really remember anymore. We were just sharing all that kind of stuff. A few of us became interested in the occult a lot at the time, and some of us, including myself, began to research all this weird stuff about Moloch and whatever. I don't really understand. Over time, the direction of our friend group begins to shift. We start delving deeper and deeper into darker conspiracies, let's say. I start to feel a constant impending dread and the need to dig deeper. This goes on and on and on. Some of the members of the friend group fall away slowly. They start to get mad. All you guys talk about anymore is conspiracy theories. You can't fix it. Why are you guys so fixated on it? One friend, let's call him John, he becomes even more obsessed and deeper down the rabbit hole. You can tell he's kind of too far gone. His online girlfriend leaves the server and blocks him entirely. John was already unemployed. Now he is spending all of his time researching the stuff. John tells us he thinks he is being demonically oppressed. I don't know what that means. He says that he keeps getting visited by people who threaten him, lights in his windows, and he starts posting sketches of what he saw. The sketches are literally just drawings of big massive eyes. We begin to get way too drained to keep on researching this stuff, and John stops talking about it with us, only occasionally posting strange stuff. Around that time, there was another strange conspiracy. I think it was about Hillary Clinton again, but I could be wrong. I can't really remember. But I remember that John was the first one who told us about it. I don't know. I started to feel like people were watching me. I could hear my name in white noise. John tells us all to get into a streaming party on the server to watch some video he was showing us. He puts on a random video. It was like Chugga Conroy or some shit. Something totally innocuous. We were all on webcam, by the way. We were pretty close friends, so we all had video on so we could see each other's faces and talk like actual real friends. And out of nowhere, John cuts his own throat. He just lies back in his chair and he dies. I am not kidding you. He just did that shit. We were all shocked and panicked and didn't really know what to do. But everyone tried to pretend none of it happened after the aftermath. Then I find that all of my interactions online start to be really negative. People begin to post random angry comments on the YouTube videos I uploaded back in middle school, which is weird. They had like 10 views in total. How did people even find them? My YouTube channel then eventually gets banned. There is an Internet Archive snapshot for it, but it's just the channel page. I would post, but the channel name is literally first name, middle initial, last name, birthday. So, I'm not going to expose myself like that. I then get accused of being a predator by someone on Twitter that I've never interacted with before in my life, by the way. Like, literally out of the blue. I'm still not sure if I was just paranoid, but I noticed cars following me. The cars seemed to break down near my house. Then a car crashes into my neighbor's house a couple weeks or months later, and it almost kills them. One day, 2 FBI agents show up at my door, one in a fucking trench coat, another in a more typical police uniform. They woke me up at like 5 a.m. I panic and I let them up. They begin to ask me questions about stuff I've been posting online. They asked me stuff about the stuff I posted on my YouTube. I did one of the videos for a class on Donald Trump, and they asked me about my feelings on him, whether I think he's a good guy, whether I want him as my president or not. It was really strange. I want to say, I didn't know shit about politics at the time. It was 2016, and basically all I cared about was memes, so I am basically pissing myself. Then they asked me if I have firearms in the house. I have a BB gun in my basement. They asked me to go and find it. They said that they wanted to see it. I refuse, and they quickly leave, giving me a business card and telling me to call them if I have anything that could help them with pertaining to domestic terrorism. I mean, I don't understand. What were they trying to get me to do? They actually stood outside my home for like an hour just talking. I peek out the window and snap a picture. I have the card still. It's just a generic business card for the regional FBI branch. I don't know how to clean metadata or else I would post it. I also have a photo of them outside my house, but that is the same situation. I tried to get a gun license, but the police chief keeps rejecting my application. This goes on for months and months until I finally build the courage to question the person behind the desk. Let me just note here, I do not have a criminal record. I come from a good local family. I never even got a detention in school. I had a total, clean bill of mental health, and the chief lives right down the road from me and hunts illegally in my backyard. They refuse to tell me anything. I keep trying. Eventually I get the chief to talk to me just from annoying the shit out of the lady behind the desk. The FBI came in and asked all about you. If you want a license, you will have to take that up with the district courts. I give up on trying to get a gun. I start to be afraid of my doors and windows. I compulsively lock all of my doors. I barricade my basement door with junk and move the couch to block my front door whenever I go to bed. I start to see what looks like camera flashes outside my bedroom window. One day I come home from work with a shit in my toilet. I live completely alone, and I did not take a shit that day. It was just in my toilet. I find my fucking... I'm sorry, the FBI isn't shitting in your toilet, bro. The window locks were all undone. The basement was unbarricaded. I delete all of the conspiracy and occult shit on my computer. I delete my social media. I delete as much as I possibly can. I actually had an Area 51 buck that I owned, a physical thing, and I burnt it. At this point, we'd moved over to Discord, so I delete my account. I delete my Facebook. I delete my old Skype. A few days later, I wake up in the morning to find my house once again tampered with. This time, the front door is left open. All the weird shit stops. I think whatever I did must have signaled to them that I was going to stop. I'm not going to tell you I have paranoia or anxiety or whatever now. I really don't. I occasionally have a feeling of unease, but I always did. I have told tons of close friends this story, and I have even reconnected with my old online friends, so I am not afraid to post any of this now. I think my friend must have done something or said something really bad, and I maybe just got caught in the crossfire. I actually got another FBI visit a few years ago, but it was because someone put in a tip on me as a prank, and they were very, very polite. My step-aunt was killed at Yellowstone last year. I was hiking around Yellowstone with a bunch of my family. My step-aunt and her kids, my dad and me, and then my brothers were along with us too. We were following a guide that will take us around some really cool hot springs. It was all really beautiful and awesome. We had a super good time, so we were all in really good moods. My step-aunt is like "Hey, have you guys heard about hot potting?" She tells us it's where you go and find a hot spring and bathe in it because apparently it's really good for you. Automatically, I think this is a really bad idea, but I do not say anything because, I don't want to be the killjoy. She gets everyone hyped up, and we all start looking around the trail for any small pools. I tell my younger brother that I think this is a really bad idea, and he says, me too. We decide we need to tell someone. Suddenly, we all hear my step-aunt start screaming, and we all know it's bad. I have never heard a scream like that before in my life. We find her standing waist deep in this pool. The water is red. At first I think it's because of the minerals, but when I get closer, I can see it's because she is being boiled alive. God, I really do not like thinking about this, but she was literally being cooked. Her skin was turning white and flaking off into the water, and she was bleeding super heavily. She was wearing cargo shorts. The water was so hot, it made the metal snap basically fuse with her skin. She tried to take off her shorts, but a bunch of her skin on her waist came off with it. There was literally nothing that we could do. We could not even get close to her. We tried making a rope out of clothes to throw to her, but she could not move. My older brother ran to go and get help, so he did not have to watch her die. I kind of hate him for that. I will never fucking forget her looking me in the eye, like she couldn't understand why any of it was happening. Eventually, she started swaying, and then she fell. By then, she was not even screaming anymore.